But great turnout so far. We're so excited to really get a chance to dig into a little bit for this on this subject for you guys. We just got done wrapping up our technical demo of the 21 release, which is of course always beneficial for everybody to see. But one of the big focuses for us here at ElectroNeek is more on the business side of the equation, right? And kind of how this all makes sense and how the technical aspect of this will obviously give you guys a greater ability to be more efficient, more productive, and more profitable when it's all said and done. So that being said, I think people will still kind of continue to join in, but as we're a little bit over 2 o'clock, I think it's pretty safe to say that we can kick this off in earnest. So first and foremost, obviously, welcome to our webinar. So we're going to take some opportunity here to kind of unpack this release from a business standpoint perspective. As you can probably tell, I am John Greenberg. I am the head of sales for ElectroNeek North America. Have recently come on board with the company, and I am extremely excited to be a part of this journey. I come from a long background of dealing with the MSP space specifically. You guys are some of my favorite people in the world. I really admire pretty much anybody and everybody that's involved in the managed services space. You guys are definitely the people who will bring forth great change, I think, to business process automation and efficiencies in businesses all across the globe. So let me tell you kind of a little bit about ElectroNeek first and foremost. So ElectroNeek is just about 2.5 years old or so, give or take. We have experienced some pretty explosive growth by all accounts. We serve businesses all across the globe: North America, Latin America, India, EMEA, the Asia Pacific, you name it. We've pretty much got clients regionally all the way across the world, right? We started off with a bang. We've been growing about 500% year over year in the past 2.5 years. So last year, we had just over 100 or so clients. This year, we are already over 500 clients. So hopefully that means we're doing things right, which we have a strong degree of confidence that we certainly are. And yeah, we're really all about the partnership model, right? You guys are the future of this industry as managed service providers, and that is primarily who we really focus on and who we're really looking to enable here, right? So that being said, let me tell you just a little bit about our mission here, right? So our mission statement is pretty clear. It's really to just empower service providers to start and grow RPA as a business services to their existing managed service provider capabilities, right? So what we're really looking to do here is to enable our partners to build this out as a revenue generation stream, right? As either a standalone or as a complementary service to your existing business model. And we're really looking forward to, building a future where we all have readily accessible means to robotic process automation and really kind of to democratize RPA, right? This has primarily been an industry that's been focused around catering to the enterprise space, right? So as we all kind of know, that is a decreasing market share. Gartner is predicting that we're going to grow from about $2 to $5 billion in overall revenue as far as the RPA industry is concerned. And the reality is that most of that business is not going to come from the enterprise space, but more from the small, medium, and SME level businesses who have great needs for these services. Everybody wants to, build automation into their day-to-day workflow processes. It's beneficial for all parties involved. We're really trying to make it so that, we can do more with less or more with the same amount of resources, right? So we really believe that, RPA as a whole is kind of, not to be cliche, but the kind of the lowest hanging fruit in the current technology landscape to really be able to start and scale a service business relatively easily, right? And we've geared a lot of our product to be able to be, again, very accessible, coming from kind of a low code, no code approach We don't want to make this extremely complicated, and we want to give you guys the ability to scale this as quickly as humanly possible, right? So we're really committed to kind of fulfilling this mission as an RPA business partner, specifically catering again to the managed service providers who, in the end, you guys will be the catalyst to the democratization of these types of services and making them readily available to the masses, right? So that being said, let me show you a little bit about what we mean when we say, the democratization of RPA and what the model looks like as far as the relationship between, ElectroNeek and our managed service provider partners. So here we go. We got a nice little nifty infographic for all of my fellow visual learners, right? So basically, before we really start kind of unpacking a lot of the technical details here, what I really want to do is just kind of give you guys a high level overview of what our partnership kind of really looks like, right? So we are extremely different. In fact, I believe, and in my honest opinion, we are the only RPA provider in the industry that really goes about doing this the way that we have. And mainly that means, in reference to our no bot licensing model, right? So we have zero interest in how many bots you guys create. We want you to create as many automated workflows as humanly possible. And we want you guys to own that as your own IP, right? You're doing the heavy lifting, you're building the bots, you're rolling them out to your clientele, you're servicing them, right? They belong to you at the end of the day, right? So again, we have a zero cost RPA bot licensing model. You guys designed how to price your RPA solutions. You guys decide what your implementation fees will be. You guys decide if you want to build this out as a subscription-based model or if you want to sell your bots individually at your own price points. You can deploy those bots however you see fit. You can take existing bots that you've built, repackage them, repurpose them, make some small alterations depending on your individualized clients and perhaps some software differentiations or some workflow differences between client to client, and repackage and resell those bots, right? At the end of the day, that is ultimately how you guys remain sticky, and that's how you maintain, maximum profitability. You're no longer a sell-through for, some of these legacy providers like your Blue Prisms and, your Automation Anywhere and UiPath, et cetera. We're putting those tools in your hands, and you have the ability to conduct your business as you see fit, design, develop, and deploy those bots as you see fit. And that's your business, right? We're not asking you to connect us directly to your end user clients, right? So if you notice here, kind of in this infographic, there is no direct line between ElectroNeek and your clients, right? That is your business. You've worked hard to win those clients, and we have zero interest in you being, a delivery mechanism for ElectroNeek to go and essentially, pilfer your clients, right? You're not adding logos to the ElectroNeek banner. You're adding them to your own banner, right? That is essentially how you guys will continue to find success and stickiness amongst your partner base and amongst your business model, is by being the person that is always the go-to point of contact from your clients, right, directly back to you. So you're rolling it out, you're deploying, you're managing, and then again, you can build that out as a subscription model, which we found a lot of people have been able to very successfully implement. And again, that's something that I think is really important to mention as well, as far as things that ElectroNeek brings to the table. We've spent a ton of time building out what we would call, our MSP toolbox to really kind of help take a very consultative approach, right, to helping you guys understand what it really means to offer RPA as a service, to build out these subscription models, how to price these solutions, how to remain sticky with these clients. So again, the one thing to keep, repeatedly hammering on is that this is a partnership between ElectroNeek and you guys as the managed service providers. We do not see success. We do not make money. We do not grow as a company unless you are growing as a company and seeing success and adding additional developers and building out your RPA as a service business. So hopefully that kind of gives you a bit of a 30,000-foot view of what really distinguishes ElectroNeek from a lot of the other RPA service providers that are out there. So we're gonna jump in here into unpacking a little bit of what we've added here as far as the summer 21 release goes and what that really means for your business. So again, we have conducted a technical demo of a lot of these new features for the developer community. It's available online, whether or not you guys have subscribed to that webinar or not. So feel free to bounce over to the website. There'll be a nifty pop-up there that you guys can click into and get access to that recorded demo. So that way, if you want to see a little bit more of the technical side, just doing some of your own preliminary research, please feel free to do that. So here's where we really start getting into kind of the meat and potatoes of what we've really done here as far as our summer 21 release. So to really kind of put a preface around this conversation that will be built around this slide, I think it's very important for me to kind of convey to you guys that there are a lot of companies out there that claim to be very agile in their development and in their maturation as a company. And a lot of that I feel like is a bit of fluff sometimes. But at ElectroNeek, and again, I've worked at many different software companies from startup phase all the way to extremely well-established companies that make these sorts of claims. I have never in my life worked anywhere that has truly lived up to the title of being extremely agile and very receptive to client input, right? We are heavily dependent on listening to the feedback of our existing customer base on what you guys need added to this platform for you to be successful or for you to be able to interact, with your existing clientele or the clients that you're looking to win. And we build those things into this platform at a lightning rate of speed. We're not adding small little tweaks and developments here or there. No, we are adding entire, integrations, entire capability solutions and skill sets based into, the overall platform as a whole at an alarming rate. I mean, it is so refreshing to be a part of an organization that truly takes it very seriously when it comes to listening to our developer base and our MSP partners and incorporating that into our business model, right? So again, this is a very kind of high level overview of the products and features and themes that we've tied into the 21 release and kind of how it will impact your overall business model. So really the first and foremost, the overarching theme here is really just better management of your automation business, right? So we've got a lot of feedback from people as far as, being able to incorporate things like, again, further elaborating on our no-code, low-code approach, adding some, extremely intelligent cognitive web scraping capabilities, local development history, client dashboards on both ends of the equation. So we know you guys are managing, dozens of clients with all sorts of individual use cases and bots. So, we've really built out quite a solid little tool set here to kind of better manage these very complex, oftentimes bot ecosystems and relationships with those clients, right? So with our orchestrator, we have added multi-tenancy. So what we are able to do now is obviously have not only central deployment and those client dashboards like we mentioned, but you can have multiple orchestrators on the client end that roll up to your single orchestrator instance on your end for, again, kind of a central management and deployment platform to work out of. You guys can deploy as many bots as you can possibly imagine at any given time with a few clicks of a button, right? So that's one of those things where, again, people said, hey, we need a better way to manage multiple accounts, multiple orchestrators, multiple bot environments. We need to be able to push these things out very quickly and make changes sometimes on the fly. So that's exactly what we did. We built that multi-tenancy feature out. We built the central deployment features out. We put those client dashboards in place, right? Second to that, really is all about the productivity side of the equation, right? So everybody is obviously concerned with maximum productivity and efficiency when it comes to their RPA developers, right? So we did add quite a few additional no-code, low-code activities to really kind of accelerate the bot development process. Including, again, kind of circling back around to that innovative cognitive web scraping. And to that point, what we've really been able to do here is give you guys kind of in-platform ability to go out, very easily deploy cognitive web scraping, whether that is, pulling prices off of multiple websites, looking at product availability, shopping multiple vendors, all of the above, right? So we've heard a lot of things as far as, our ability to really fine tune our approach to cognitive web scraping. And we are extremely happy with where the tool currently sits, and all the feedback thus far has been fantastic. Following that, what we have is really a focus around scaling your development workforce, right? So being able to open up your ability to hire additional developers to support your business growth. And what we mean by that is, primarily one of the things that we had a lot of requests for was to essentially build in native Python support, right? So that is the single largest pool of talent when it comes to the development community. Being able to natively support, Python scripting when it comes to building out these bots, in addition to Java, was a big request. We rolled that out. It works extremely well. So again, we want to be able to, give you guys the best possible opportunity to staff your organization with the right people, and do that very effectively, right? And in addition to that, just kind of another side note, that no code, low code approach, I can't stress it enough, as far as, being able to, have a very, relaxed state of mind when it comes to potentially hiring junior developers to be able to work within this platform, right? So if they don't have Python scripting experience, if they don't have Java scripting experience, the platform is designed to be easy enough to use, such that, if you guys want to go about hiring a couple of junior developers and still have them be able to build effective bots, it's there, right? We can absolutely do that. So I do see some questions popping up here. I will definitely make sure to address those. And I see Tamo and John are already popping in here to answer those questions. Thank you both for that. So in addition to that, we do kind of want to move over to the right side of the equation here, right? Which is really kind of the fourth theme here, which is winning more business, right? So really, up until this last release, our ecosystem and our functionality was primarily about, connecting bots together and integrating them with tools like Zapier primarily. And with Orchestrator now in our new API and third-party API authorization capabilities, you can definitely increase your number of profitable automation use cases, and be able to integrate bots with a ton of various existing automated workflows, and really kind of build a lot of custom integrations, especially when you're dealing with a lot of legacy platforms, which we know a lot of you guys are. So, one of the other things that we really focused on was really adding in RDP support, being able to work, natively with Citrix and SAP. So, again, we've got connectors now to base off of, Java applications. So pretty much 99% of whatever you guys are typically dealing with now from a bot deployment standpoint or workflow automation standpoint with your SAP use cases, we've got it covered, which was, again, it was something that people were asking us for all the time, and here it is. So to kind of dig in a little bit further on, what we mean when we say, giving you guys the abilities to, better manage your existing environments, right? So as we're kind of looking here, as far as this infographic goes, we got you guys obviously over here as the managed service provider, in between yourselves and all of your tenant orchestrators and all of your ultimate clients, right? This is all still on your side of the house. You've got your individual orchestrators for all of your individual clients, where you can, again, roll out bots on the fly, make moderational changes, set up your unattended bots for when they run, how they run, things along those lines. And then from there, you have the clients that plug in on their end, right? So you've got the client dashboards on both sides of the equation. So everybody's got some visibility here. And we've really kind of focused around, again, just giving you guys the ability to reach more people quickly and efficiently, right? So harping again on kind of multi-tenancy, again, with it being as important as it was, you can have multiple client orchestrators under the single roof of your one orchestrator instance on your end. So if you're familiar with the platform, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're kind of new to ElectroNeek, there are certain situations where obviously when you're stressing multi-tenancy, or you have a client who really has a strong degree of interest in being able to have full visibility into their automation practice and understanding, you know, how things are being deployed, when, what time, things along those lines, you guys have the ability to resell them their own instance of Orchestrator. And previously, you know, that was a bit of a bear to have kind of multiple orchestrators on the client side as well as your end. And we've solved that problem by now being able to roll up multiple client-side orchestrators to a single orchestrator instance on the managed service provider side of the house, right? So you guys will be able to open your orchestrator, see all of your client orchestrators where you do have multi-tenancy at play, and be able to manage their orchestrator essentially under a single pane of glass approach, right? So that was definitely a big one, and it was one that we were really happy to be able to roll out, right? So again, it's really about just giving you guys better management capabilities. Central deployment, one of the things to again mention is you can upload any single bot to Orchestrator and publish it from there to hundreds of clients' machines, thousands of client machines, really as many as you'd like, with a single click. I mean, you can select your orchestrator, select that client, you know, upload that bot into the system, select all the machines or just a few of the machines, click deploy. It will automatically go out there and take care of business, right? So that was a big portion of requests there, and we're really happy that that is working extremely well at this point. So if you've got, you know, massive unattended bot processes that you guys need to roll out and deploy, very, very easy to do now. And again, you know, just a bit of information on the client dashboards. You can get instant visibility, right, into the bot ecosystems you guys are running for each one of your clients, making monitoring and management a very easy, very seamless process with a highly improved UX, which we've, again, all of this comes from, you know, kind of a bias for us type situation, right? We come from a managed service provider background. Our founder, you know, owned and operated one of the most successful MSPs in Eastern Europe, primarily focused around the reselling and deployment and management of UiPath services. So we are intrinsically aware of, you know, what works very well with some of the, you know, large providers in the RPA space, and we've adopted a lot of those methodologies into our own platform. But, you know, we also fully understand a lot of the issues that occur with, you know, again, deploying, managing, maintaining visibility into all of these different instances across all of your different client bases. So, you know, while again, a lot of this is coming from, you know, the client side, kind of bringing some issues to our attention, at the same time, a lot of this is also coming from our own kind of innate understanding of just what it is you guys deal with on a regular basis, right? We want to make this as easy for you as humanly possible. And we're coming from a point of great understanding and empathy for what you guys have to do, right? So just to touch a bit more on kind of improved developer productivity and kind of, you know, what we're really looking to do and add into the platform to allow you guys to really be able to kind of scale your workforce. So, you know, with the Summer 21 release, we are really aiming to give managed service providers as many tools as possible to increase the overall productivity of all your RPA development teams, right? So we've talked a little bit about kind of that low code, no code environment, which makes bot building, you know, extremely fast. In Summer 21 release, really just kind of hammered in a couple of those additional low code, no code features, such as advanced Excel capabilities, Outlook capabilities, PDF scanning, Windows system activities, just to kind of give you a high level overview of those sorts of things. And really what we're aiming to do is just give you guys the ability to kind of construct complex logical relationships and cycles for using drag and drop logic builder, which is the core of our UI UX, of course, which is something that you don't really find very often with a lot of these RPA tools. If you've never had a chance to really see our platform or UI UX and you have any interest in these sorts of things, I implore you, you know, please give us the opportunity to really show you the platform and raise the curtain and show you what the behind the scenes action really looks like. because like I said, there's really nobody else in the game that has built out the UX to be as, accessible as ours. Everything is broken down in a tiled panel on the left-hand side for all the various tools and use cases you could possibly have. And you can really and literally drag and drop those feature sets into our UI dashboard, UX dashboard rather, to be able to build these bots. If you have no coding experience at all whatsoever, but you understand logically the progression of tasks essentially that you would do as a human being to complete that same task, you can build that automation. If it's, I need to go open this window, access this website, input this information, log in over here, check a box that says I'm not a robot, even though we are absolutely building robots to do that. And then, grab this information, parse that data, put it over here. You can build that via drag and drop, which is honestly one of the most impressive things I've seen in this particular industry. And it is 100% what sold me on coming over here in the first place. Not only were the people fantastic, but when I saw, the capabilities of the tool and the ease of use and just the logic-based thinking to constructing these bots, all the bells and whistles went off for me. And I knew this was something that I really wanted to be a part of, right? So moving on a little bit further here. So, with over 9 million plus people in the Python developer community talent pool, right? It's just an endless resource for you guys as far as hiring capabilities. And it's even surpassed the JavaScript community these days, right? As far as, being able to present the greatest number of people capable of working within those languages. So, again, we wanted to open up the RPA talent pool to you guys to the best of our abilities. So, again, adding that JavaScript friendly approach and the Python support, we're giving you guys the best chance to be able to hire efficiently, right? Which is, as we all know right now, not the easiest thing in the world to do, right? So again, we've added that addition with the cognitive web scraping tool that allows for very complex browser automation with a no-code approach, right? So you're able to really kind of automate, complex logic web scraping, like going through, again, list of items in an online store one by one, doing price comparison analyses, grabbing information, parsing it, putting it into the right locations, building spreadsheets of comparative data, all those sorts of things with literally no code, none, no Python requirement, no scripting, no nothing. I mean, you can drag and drop those feature sets into the UX and build a cognitive web scraping tool in a relatively short period of time with very little experience, right? And one of the other things that we added that was super important to a lot of people was adding that local development history. So that way you guys can go back, if you make some minor alterations or changes, and maybe you break a workflow automation, or there's something that, is clearly not right there, you guys can go back, you can look at the development history on that particular workflow or that particular bot, roll back anything that you may or may not have done incorrectly, right? And be able to make sure that you guys are not taking a ton of time, troubleshooting or trying to backpedal any potential changes that may not have been favorable at the end of the day. So again, win more work. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Again, we can't stress it enough. If you don't grow, we don't grow with our, zero cost bot licensing model. We're counting on you guys being able to add developer seats and grow your relationship with us in order for us to be successful as a business, right? So we are fully vested in making sure that you guys have every possible capability to be successful on both, the small and medium business scale all the way up to the enterprise scale. So, adding certain features and enabling surface automation for, natively for both Citrix and RDP environments allowed for, a ton of access and availability to building complex workflows and utilizing advanced graphics detections and OCR without having to necessarily access the interface elements, which was something, again, was very important to a lot of our clients. So we wanted to make sure we got that in here as quickly as possible. A lot of you knew that a lot of these kind of remote only cases are now in high demand, just with the current world that we're living in, especially from enterprise clients since the start of the pandemic, right? So we knew it was really important for you to be able to get in here and make yourself readily accessible and capable of dealing with a lot of these legacy platforms, your Citrix, your SAP, Oracle, all of the above, right? So we did a lot to really kind of build out those tool sets. The new release also allows for you guys to interact with legacy desktop apps, enabling a lot of partners to work with a greater variety of enterprise applications. Again, just based off of that, that Python support and the JavaScript support. So again, that's all built out here. If you've got, clients that are already using a lot of these big platforms, which we know a lot of you are, you can walk into those types of conversations without fear and knowing that you can build these automations out successfully and have them run as intended. And again, just to touch again on kind of the Orchestrator API and some of our third-party API authorizations, we did all that. We added them all specifically as we did in this release to just continue to increase the universe of automation opportunities to your clients, right? It just allows you to differentiate yourself from the competition by being able to build your own custom connectors via API, however you guys see fit, and then figure out your own methodologies to really capitalize on those and continue to kind of win new business, right? So that being said, just kind of as a high level overview, this release was primarily geared towards, again, giving you guys better capabilities to manage your RPA business with our MSP orchestration tools, build bots bigger, faster, stronger, with the innovative no code, low code approach, but also, to get into some more complex use cases utilizing, both Python and Java scripting. Tap into the largest talent community pool. Again, hiring is very difficult right now. It's an extremely competitive landscape. A lot of people needed to have that ability to build a lot of these complex things out with Python. That's fully, rolled out now. You guys have absolutely every ability to do that at this point. Increase your overall pool of client opportunities through APIs and integrations. And then of course, just win that enterprise business. While we know, the market is shifting away from being, enterprise centric when it comes to RPA, there's no doubt that, that market is still in existence and will continue to exist. And if you have current business partners that are playing in that space, that are possibly using some of these other tools, like your UiPath, like Automation Anywhere, like your Blue Prisms, while we're certainly not saying that, you have to go in and rip and replace all of those things, we can certainly work extremely well in parallel to all of them. And then also give you guys the ability to kind of slowly but surely, replace a lot of those larger platforms with ElectroNeek, which of course is very favorable to you guys as far as a profitability standpoint, and certainly makes it much more financially feasible for non-enterprise customers, right? When it comes to not paying exorbitant costs, right, around business licensing models, software licensing model, and bot licensing models. So that kind of brings us to the end of our overall presentation. I know we don't want to run this super far over time, and we do want to give you guys the ability to jump into kind of the Q&A if you do have any questions that we haven't answered on the fly so far. So let me bring you to kind of our final slide, which is just, of course, if you're an existing partner and you have some questions around the summer release, please feel free to reach out to the customer success team. And if you are interested in becoming a partner of ElectroNeek or just learning a little bit more about the platform and its capabilities, feel free to reach out to either partners@electroneek.com or sales@electroneek.com, and we'll be able to go about reaching out and making communications happen with us that way. So let's see if we can pull up the Q&A window here. I'm actually going to back up one slide to kind of the overview here. Yeah, so I do see a question here from Rami about, including AI and ML tools as part of the studio, and would that be considered a part of the development roadmap? We are super transparent with the roadmap, so we're definitely happy to kind of walk through that with anybody at any given time. There's always a lot of increased interest around ML and MI. Oh, there you go. Tim was on there, our head of product dev, says it's under the programming API section. So yes, to answer your question in short form, we do already have some kind of native capabilities with incorporating MI and AI. through the platform natively. So, and again, we will continue to kind of build out those integrated platforms with the ElectroNeek platform. So we're always looking for ways to make us more sticky for you guys to make yourselves in turn more sticky with your clients, right? Let's see. Got some info over there. Here we go. Let's parse through a couple of these questions here. All right, so what do we got? So we've got one question. So with central bot deployment options that you mentioned earlier, is there a limit to how many bots I can deploy at once? And secondly, can I deploy bots across multiple client accounts at the same time? Awesome question. It is one that we get pretty regularly. And the answer to that question is no, there are no limits to the number of bots that you can deploy at any given time. It's not that you need to batch them together or anything of the sort. You can deploy them all at the same time across multiple client bases. You can, which, yeah, again, to answer the second part of your question, I answered it in my first answer to your question, which is, yeah, you can absolutely deploy bots across multiple clients at the same time, especially if you have, multiple bots that are, applicable to various clients that serve the same use cases. You can absolutely deploy them across multiple clients. Okay, let's see. So there's one more question here around cognitive web scraping. Okay, just a generalized question about some of our cognitive web scraping capabilities. So just to kind of summarize there a little bit, some web scraping use cases are, about mainly more or less kind of about repeated actions, right? With data and different structures and different interfaces, things along those lines. So for example, one of the things that we run into on a fairly regular basis is, web scraping prices in an online shop, right? Is one of the most common use cases. So the way that the new tool would kind of operate to kind of significantly just simplify the overall process, right, of building those bots would be, your RPA developer will no longer kind of have to code the entire web scraping algorithm anymore. All of that will be generated automatically. So it's really just kind of a point and click, drag and drop type situation where you can identify, hey, this is what I'm looking to gather from these particular websites. Here's where that information is located. Go ahead and gather that information for me and bring it over to wherever it's applicable to drop that in a bucket for you, right? So again, a lot of that was kind of a manual process and really kind of having to script out what that looked like. And we built those cognitive tools right into the drag and drop option under the web scraping tools. So that makes it really easy to deploy en masse. Let's see, what do we got? Another one is the ability to run bot runner service on the road. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by there. So I can give you kind of a high level overview of what it means as far as bot runner. So I guess are you asking if you can make it such that the clients would have kind of the ability to run or not run bot runner based on permissions? Is that what you're asking, Dan? Because as it currently sits, to kind of short form answer the question, right? The client, okay, hold on, run bot runner even if the machine is not logged in. So short answer is kind of yes, right? So whether or not they're actively kind of logged in, as long as the computer is on, right, and bot runner is installed, in theory you should be able to do that, right? Which they can also launch manually on their end, right? So if you've already pushed out and deployed the bots to that particular machine, they don't have to necessarily be connected to an orchestrator or you guys like jacked into their particular interface. All they need to do is open bot runner on their machine manually and then run those processes on their own, right? So that they can absolutely do that even if they're not logged into the net or anything along those lines, because you can install the bot runner locally on the machine. You can install the bots themselves or the Neek files, right, as we would call them, locally on the machine, and then they can go ahead and run those manually on their own. It's actually a really good question, and I know. Oh my God. Do you have a use case where ElectroNeek was used by financial industries to manage and comply with GDPR? So That's obviously a pretty loaded question, right? There's a lot of complexity kind of built around GDPR and what all that means. So I'm sure there are a lot of kind of individual use cases where, you know, you could certainly build a bot to incorporate some features, or maybe ensure that certain things are or are not happening in order to be compliant with various GDPR regulations. It's such an expansive landscape when you get into GDPR. I come from, you know, a cybersecurity background and identity verification and management, so I'm very acutely aware of the multiple pains and complexities of GDPR. I can't honestly, off the top of my head, kind of think of any specific use cases where somebody has built a bot to manage and comply with GDPR. But there's undoubtedly ways that you guys would be able to build automation into being very compliant with certain things GDPR related, without a doubt. What else do we got? Pull up my over window. Let's see. Pretty much already kind of answered that question there. All right. Well, I mean, I think it's been super successful. And again, we're so grateful for everybody's time. And thank you very much for everybody that participated in the chat and loaded up some questions for us to answer on the fly. And thank you to everybody on our side of the house that's kind of sitting in the background to kind of help just manage some of the questions in the comment section, which has been fantastic. We're really happy to continue to do business with all of our existing partners, and we certainly hope that some of you watching this particular webinar will pique some interest in having a conversation with us. And we look forward to doing business with all of you in the future. So thank you again for your time, and we look forward to where we can take this thing, right? We're all about just, again, democratizing RPA, making it available to the masses, and you guys are the catalyst to making that dream a reality. So hopefully you'll join us on this journey, and we're really excited to be a part of it with you.